hear me out. I hate the TBR jar. Wow, that feels really good to get off my chest, I'm not gonna lie. Once upon a time, I made a TBR jar and I never used it, not once. I think I tried to use it once and it barely just didn't appeal to me. I am such a mood reader. I always know what I want to read next, and I have a list of books that I am going to read next. Like, I just always know. I always know what I'm going to read next. And my physical TBR is really not that long, so I don't have to worry about like trying to push through a bunch of physical books, and I can like take a break and read on my Kobo every once in a while, which is so nice. Actually, I read on my Kobo a lot. I honestly feel less pressure to annotate on my Kobo because I can always just erase it very quickly. But I thought it would be so fun to share with you guys the 10 books that I want to read this summer or in the next couple months until I think August hits. So I have 2.5 months to read 10 books, which honestly, I do not foresee myself getting through. I am so busy with getting stuff ready for baby number 2 to get here, but I'm so excited. I just can't help that I always know what I want to read next. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm that person. I love watching TBR videos, what's on my TBR, what's on my physical TBR, what books I want to read this summer, what books I want to lay in the sun with this summer. I think there's actually a couple books on this TBR list that were on my last one. Listen, when I know what I want to read, I know what I want to read, okay? Since it is a gray and rainy day here in PA, I thought it would be fun to share with you guys the books that I want to lay in the sun with this summer. These are books on my physical TBR and that I have on my Kobo, like in my wish list. I just want to share with you 10 of them in case you are looking for inspiration on what books you want to read this summer. I do want to become more of a seasonal reader. I think that would be really fun and just make the reading experience that much more enjoyable when I'm reading books that are just of the season. Some of these books might seem random, but to me, these are books that I definitely are just like itching to get my hands on. The first one I'm actually already reading on my Kobo, and it is Light Lark by Alex Astor. She just came out with Starside, and I have just always wanted to read one of her books. I hear people say that she is such an amazing author, and Light Lark was like the series to start with for her. Light Lark very much gives me like Hunger Games, fantasy, magic vibe. Every 100 years, the island of Light Lark appears to host the Centennial, a deadly game that only the rulers of 6 realms are invited to play. The invitation is a summons, a call to embrace victory and ruin. So essentially, the Centennial is an island that appears every 100 years. The 6 rulers of the realm have all been cursed. You have starlings, wildlings, and stuff like that, and essentially wildlings are cursed to kill anyone they fall in love with, which I thought is a very interesting curse to give the main character. At the end of the synopsis, it says, "To survive, Isla must lie, cheat, and betray, even as love complicates everything." So I can only imagine who the main character is going to fall in love with. I still haven't figured it out. I'm only on like chapter 2. I literally just started it the other day. I think this is just such an interesting read, and I feel like this will be so fun to start my summer off with. I'm definitely in a very fantasy kind of era of my reading right now. I just jumped right back into it, and this is just one of the books that I've been waiting to read. The next book on my TBR is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. She wrote The Alchemy of Secrets, which I gave 5 stars. If her books are written anything like The Alchemy of Secrets, I know and very much anticipating this to be another 5-star read. But essentially, the main character Evangeline sparks a deal with an immortal being, 3 kisses, wishes to stop the wedding of the person she's absolutely in love with. The person that she strikes a deal with is called the Prince of Hearts. Like, come on. The Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she'd pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. I mean, it just sounds so good. The next book I do have on hand, and it is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I am so happy that I have this book in my hands. I've been waiting for so long to get it, but every time I've gone to the store, it's been sold out, and then every time I've gone to the bookstore, well, I haven't been to the bookstore, so every time I've gone to the store, this book has been sold out or not on the shelves, and I literally have been waiting to get my hands on this. I haven't been to the bookstore in probably months, and so when I went the other day, I said I have to get this book. It is a must grab. This is the 4th book in Elsie Silver's Chestnut Spring series, and essentially, if you love a cowboy, you will love these books. The way that Elsie Silver writes these men, she does such a fantastic job. I literally don't know how she does it. Actually, I do know how she does it because I've read 4 of her books now, 5 of her books now, and I just have loved every single one. I think every single one has been a 4 or 5 stars. The first and second book are about the first 2 brothers in the Eaton family. The third book is about a friend that they kind of adopted into the family. The fourth book is about the third Eaton brother, and then the last book is actually about an apprentice to the first brother. It's all in the same world. There technically can be standalones, but I prefer to read them in order. I feel like something would break in my brain if I tried to read them out of order. This book is about Beau Eaton. It says he's the town prince, a handsome military hero, lives on a farm. And then Bailey Jensen is the outcast bartender, a shy girl from the wrong side of the tracks. He's 35 and all man. She's 22 and all virgin. Okay, so we have a little bit of an age gap. I was not expecting that. So this is a fake engagement, kind of fake dating sort of book, which I am really excited to read because I don't think that I've read many fake dating books except for The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Oh, and The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, because that is a fake dating one as well. I love a small town romance and I'm super excited to get my hands on this. I have been waiting for almost a year to read this, so this is definitely very high up on the list of the books that I want to read next. The fourth book that I have on my TBR is The Score by Elle Kennedy. You guys, I think I did a reading vlog for The Deal and The Mistake, and I gave them 3 stars. Everyone said that the third book is the best, but I just felt so unmotivated to read the third book after reading the first 2 because I just thought that they were okay. I didn't hate them. I didn't love them. I liked them. So trying to get into the third book was just not something that I was super hyped up over until I watched the Off Campus series on Amazon Prime. Yeah. I'm gonna need to read this book ASAP because seeing Dean and Allie's chemistry was absolutely insane. I am just so stoked to read this book now. I needed to watch that in order to be motivated to read this. This is a fling turned romance and they're like trying to stay away from each other but also can't stay away from each other. I'm super excited to read this book and everyone literally says this is the best book in the series. I just was so unmotivated, like I said, to read it. So we'll see how this goes because I wasn't hard on the first 2. Maybe sports romances just aren't my niche. And we'll find out because this book is supposed to be amazing. The 5th book on my TBR is Alive in Wells by Bailey Hannah. The main character, Cecily Kennedy, is running from something in her past, like an ex-boyfriend, ex-husband that she's running from. I think she's trying to get a divorce and she runs away to this ranch. And it says that Austin Wells is sending mixed signals about whether he wants her or hates her. But Cecily can't risk getting involved with her grumpy yet alluring employer. She has nowhere else to go and getting over her ex by getting under Austin isn't worth the potential fallout. But I just haven't heard much about it and this looks like such a fun little read. You guys know I love a grumpy cowboy. What can I say? You guys, do you see how big this book is? This was a Christmas gift from Chris, and I figured it was time to read it. The 6th book on my TBR is Narnia, but the first book in the Narnia series. I totally forgot that this note was in here. When Chris gave this to me for Christmas, he left a little note in here that says, "To my beautiful wife, I love you as much as the first day I saw you. You are still my #1 gift in life. Love, your husband." Oh my gosh, he's so cute. This book is actually a collection of all the books in the Chronicles of Narnia series. The first book is called The Magician's Nephew, and that is the one that I plan on reading. I don't plan on reading all of these. If I can, I will, but the first one that I'm going to start with is The Magician's Nephew. I have seen all the movies, and I loved those movies growing up, and I was really sad that they didn't do any more after finding out that there were more books to go along in the series. Definitely need to read. I have so many books that I want to read by C.S. Lewis. I think I'm just kind of dipping my toes in the waters with this one. I feel like this was just a good one to start with considering I haven't read any of his other books. The 7th book on my TBR I don't personally have with me, but I would like to get a physical copy because I accidentally got a physical copy of the 3rd book in the series, but it was a signed copy and I grabbed it thinking it was the first, but it's not. But the 7th book on my list is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maurer. Sorry. It's about a sunshine assistant who gets a job for an evil villain. Like, she's literally an assistant to an evil villain. And they have this unexpected romance, and she ends up getting this job, I think, between a mishap. She just kind of stumbles upon it. And he's like, "Do you want a job?" And she's like, "Yes, I have a family to support." So yeah, I don't really know much more than that, but reading the synopsis, it kind of sounds like along those lines. And the end of the synopsis says, "After all, a good job is hard to find." And I'm like, I don't know, girl, but I really just don't know much about this except for that it's a very fantasy, romantic, comedy kind of vibe. So I'm super excited to read this, and I really just hope that they have good banter between the main characters because I love good banter between main characters. I actually saw Alexa Ray read this in a reading vlog, and she raves over this series. She says it's one of her favorites. Me and her have pretty similar reading tastes, so I definitely want to give this one a try. I think she gave this one 5 stars, so this one is an anticipated 5-star read for me. The next book on my TBR I thought was super fun and exciting as we lean into summer. It just gives summer vibes to me, and I really have always wanted to read a pirate romance ever since last year. I think pirate romances are just so fun. At least they sound fun because I literally have not read one yet. This was actually another book that Alexa Ray had read, and I watched a vlog that she did on. It's called Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. This is the 8th book on my TBR for the summer. Alosa, I think is how you say the FMC's name, gets captured by her enemies, and it gives her the perfect opportunity to look for a treasure map that she is kind of looking for or hoping to find. And there is an unexpected, clever, and unfairly attractive first mate, Raiden, who she kind of, I think, develops a crush on and ends up falling in love with. It says this book blends action, adventure, romance, and a little bit of magic into a thrilling pirate tale, which is exactly what I'm looking for, literally exactly what I'm looking for. On the Kobo store, this has 235 ratings, and it is a straight across the board 5 stars. Whoa. The 9th book on my TBR is Local Heavens. I got this book at a book event, and essentially this is a dystopian inspired The Great Gatsby. So it's inspired by The Great Gatsby. It's very dystopian, and I'm just really interested in it because The Great Gatsby is actually one of my favorite books of all time. I loved that book. I read it in high school, and I'm telling you, I aced every single assignment on that book. It was perfect. I just loved the motifs and all the hidden messages. But a corporate hacker, an elusive billionaire, a society trying to survive the American nightmare. So we all hear about the American dream, but I feel like this really dives into issues behind the classes, like upper class versus lower class, and the struggles. And yeah, it's just really interesting. I'm excited to read a dystopian and more modern version of the tale. And this is a beautiful cover. But imagine reading this out in the sun and the sun just reflecting off of it. Wow. What a dream. I actually have 11 books that I'm going to share with you because I forgot that I pulled this one off my shelf, but this is House of Dragons by K.A. Lind. It doesn't sound anything like Fourth Wing, but it kind of gives Fourth Wing vibes. The back says, enter the tournament, win a dragon, don't fall in love. And it's very Dragon Academy, trying to survive a corrupt government, I believe. Let me check. Half fae, half human, Kerrigan Argon was discreetly dropped off onto the steps of Draco Mountain 10 years ago with nothing but a note. Her life changes completely as she's swept into the care of the House of Dragons, an elite training program for gifted fae. Everyone is chosen in her age group to enter society except for her, so she strikes a bargain and essentially goes on this wild adventure to chart her own destiny and reshape the world, which sounds really intriguing, really good. I really loved Fourth Wing. I absolutely adored Fourth Wing. My heart was broken by Fourth Wing multiple times in many places. So I'm interested to see if I like this because I haven't read any other books that are very like Dragon Academy kind of based. And this is similar but sounds super different. This will be a fun fantasy summer read as well. And then the last book that I want to share with you might surprise you because it is literally not a romance or fantasy book at all. It's by Mitch Albom is how you say his name. By Mitch Albom is Tuesdays with Morrie. I read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and this book changed my freaking life. I sobbed, I cried, I smiled. It was everything. It was a 5-star read for me. It was truly amazing and life-changing to me. So when I heard about Tuesdays with Morrie, I was super intrigued. I don't know if you guys can hear, but there's currently jets in the background because the air shows this weekend. Okay, hopefully we have a little bit of break from the jets, but while the jets were going by, I literally was reading the synopsis, and this is about Morrie. I mean, not Morrie, Mitch Albom. Mitch Albom finds out that an old mentor of his is passing away, dying, not doing well, probably sick, and he goes and finds him, and in the last few months of his life, they just have a conversation about all the life lessons that Mitch Albom wished he would have asked Morrie. I thought this was a fiction for some reason, but this is literally about Mitch Albom, like meeting and finding his old mentor. And the end of the synopsis says, "The truth is, Mitch," he said, "once you learn how to die, you learn how to live." Tuesdays with Morrie is a magical chronicle of their time together through which Mitch shares Morrie's lasting gift with the world. I really love books that share wisdom like that, and so I'm super stoked to read it. I've heard that this makes books emotional as well for other people and other friends that have read it. These are all the books on my TBR that I cannot wait to lay in the sun with this summer. Or if it doesn't happen to be sunny that day, I think these will be good books to really just cozy up with and really relax with. But let me know if you've read any of these books and how you felt about them, or if you will be adding any of these books to your TBR list. I can't wait to do some reading vlogs with these. I will see you guys at home next time. Bye!